Fiona asked me if I would say a few words about the rider training program, and for some of you who might have not heard that term before, it's just sort of a rephrasing of something that we've been doing in the past, but I'll give you a little bit of the history of the program here. It really starts a little bit with ART, so the rider training program and the art of safe riding. So we've talked about ART in the past, and most of you here, a lot of you, show of hands, who has taken ART, Advanced Rider? Yeah, like I'm preaching to the converted here. I see a couple have. Do we have any new members here tonight? What's your name? Sorry.
Ron.
Ron, welcome, Ron. What's your background? When did you join the club, and what do you ride?
Last year, but I only did one ride last fall.
Okay, nice. Was that the last one in November? Which.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah, it was great. It was the first November ride in many years, actually. So what are you riding, Ron?
RT 1250.
Nice, very nice. Well, welcome to the club, and welcome to January meetings. So we did have one rider who rode in tonight, Andres, if he's still here. Where is he? Hey, there he is.
He's warming up back home.
Fantastic. It's better than the year we had that gentleman, was it Charles, I think? It was like snow and sleet, and he rode his old GS here. It was a little bit dicey. And he ended up in the bank on Bank Street, I think, literally in the snowbank, and left it there and came to the meeting and went and scooped it out of the bank after. Like I couldn't believe he actually rode. As the sort of head coach of the ART program, I approached him after and I said, you probably shouldn't be riding your bike in these kind of conditions. Oh, well, the roads are bare. No, they're not bare. They're covered in ice. Yeah, terrible. All right, so the rider training program. Before we can talk about the rider training program, I'll talk a little about Advanced Rider Training School and a little bit of the history, so just bear with me for a second. Much of this you probably already know. But the ART program started in 2007 with Don Dobson and a few other key club members. They were approached by Clubs Canada, BMW Clubs Canada, and they wanted to know if we would start an on-track cornering school. And that was sort of the seed that started it all. So they got together, they put a program together, and they didn't run it in 2008, but then it was run every year since then until we had a COVID pause in 2020, of course, and 2021. We also did not run the program, but it's been going steady. So this year we'll mark the 2024 will be the 15th year of the ART program, which is a fantastic record, I think, for something that was kind of just started from this club. I took over from Don as head coach of the ART program in 2017, and I've been asked many times, and I asked myself this, why I took it on. And out of respect for Don, but he knew, he saw that I really enjoyed the on-track stuff. I had taken track training before, and he had already had me in the coaching cadre by that point, so it was kind of a natural fit, and as my wife says, I'm a bit of a border collie. I need to have something to do at all times, otherwise I get bored. So it's been pretty busy. But when I took my license, like many of you, you take your license, for me it was in the 80s when I turned 16, and I took my course, the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course. And from that point forward, I thought I knew how to ride a motorcycle. I don't need to take another course. Fast forward a whole bunch of years, and in the early 20-teens, I decided that I would take the California Superbike School course. And I took the course, and my eyes were opened. Like, first of all, how much I had to learn, how much things have changed. Now, this is really a track sort of specific course, but it applies to street riding in general. And I learned so much in those 2 days that I thought, well, this is something I need to continue to do, first of all, and then with the opportunity in the club, I could advance the program here. It was something I really took on. So there's definitely, stuff changes over 30 years in riding, believe it or not. So let's talk a little about the ART Reserve. Has anybody heard of the ART Reserve? No? Okay. It's flashed up every year at the annual general meeting because Denise, or the treasurer, I guess used to be Tony, would flash this up, and basically there'd be a line item in the budget with our current sort of fiscal sort of condition, and it would be ART Reserve. So basically it's an amount that was a surplus every year to now the 14 years that we've run ART. We try to run it revenue neutral, but and it's a really tough program to manage in terms of funding because you never know for sure how many students you're going to get. And it's like nowadays, it's like a $16,000, $17,000 sort of revenue versus $16,000 to $17,000 expenses. So it's an expensive program. So But over the years, we run it as close as we can to zero, but there's always been a little bit of a surplus. And we ended up with close to $7,000 a couple of years ago. That was kind of the amount of money that's been set aside from the club budget for ART reserves. COVID pause in 2020, 2021. So it caused me to think a little bit about an idea for the club sort of program. It also allowed me to revamp the curriculum for ART, but I felt that in 2020 we should be offering something, if possible, for the membership. And did anybody take the Motorcycle Masters in 2020? There was 2 days we did it. Yeah, Larry, you were there. There's a few here for sure that took it. And that was part of that sort of border collie in me. I think, well, I've got to organize something, so let's get going with this. So I contacted Jim at Motorcycle Masters, and he was gung-ho to do this, and we had to keep in groups of, like, it was 10, right? Couldn't get more than 10, and then we had to separate in the parking lots. It was all the COVID protocols. So we did end up with around 50 members took the course in 2020, which caused me to believe, okay, there's definitely interest in there, not just cornering, but maybe slow speed handling. So another year goes by, and I started thinking about, and this, by the way, is from 2023. So I think Paul's in that picture, a few others here. So that's just the 2023 picture of the crew that took Motorcycle Masters in 23. So the rider training program in 2023. I approached the board in the fall of 22 with an idea, and I called Fiona and I said, look, we've got this money. How about we use that money in a way to reinvest into the membership? And my idea was that we would take the ART sort of model, which is an internal course, and then in the Motorcycle Masters idea and a GS course, and say, I'll negotiate a price for a third-party provider for these other courses, and then we'll offer a subsidized rate to our membership. So it sort of reinvests some of those funds back into the membership, into training. So I think it keeps with the spirit of the program. And of course, it was a 100-year anniversary for BMW last year. So I thought, what a great way if we could sort of advertise that we were going to offer 100 training slots, which is what we did in 2023. So we ended up with 55 for ART, and then between 20 and 25 for the other two courses. So Motorcycle Masters, ART, and of course a GS training. And there's one member in here. Where are you, Michael? Hey, Michael ended up taking all three courses there, so congrats to Michael. Yeah. Very, very well trained.
It shows on the road.
Yeah, fantastic, right? Motorcycle Masters, there's an example of, these are pictures from the most recent course, I think, in 2023. So for those who haven't taken it, it's fantastic training. It's a lot of fun. And really, really, when you say masters, it's like you master that motorcycle at slow speed. It's really makes you confident, which is really part of the tougher, some of the tougher part of riding is slower speed riding. And of course, advanced rider training. There's a couple of pictures there. Michael, by the way, features in this picture. I'm going to back that up to say I gotta highlight this. Michael is featured here on the right-hand picture. He's in the yellow and gray jacket there. So I made sure I got a picture of you, Michael, in each one and there he is again, sleeping in class in the right-hand picture. I'm pretty sure your eyes are open there, but and then of course the Academy Ride Adventure, which we contracted to do some GS training. And there's Michael picking up a GS. That's a school GS, though. It's not Michael's bike. So, or try. I think that's you, Michael, isn't it? Or that's you here. I think that's you there as well. The 2024 rider training program, and the board approved the budget. I think we met in early December a couple times to sort of work through this. The plan is this year that we are going to do Motorcycle Masters again, and that's going to be 23 April 2024. Registration is not open yet for it. I just confirmed with Jim about a few weeks ago that the date is good. If winter, I don't want to say it, if winter goes super late and we don't have a good parking lot at the EY Center, which is where it'll be held, we'll push that a little bit into May. He's got a couple of dates he's going to keep free for us. But, I mean, late April, it's hopefully a pretty good chance it'll be good to go there. And this subsidy from the Rider Training Program Fund, which we're still sitting at somewhere in the vicinity of $6,300 after last year, again, I've negotiated a good rate that you cannot get on your own, and with Jim, and it still subsidizes a bit more from this rider training program. So if you sign up for the course through the website, with us, you're saving a fair bit from what you can get on the street. So again, it's part of that spirit of getting back to the membership, the monies that we've collected through the ART program. ART will be the 27th of May, 2024, which is typically the last Monday in May is when we try to hold that. It means that the last 2 weeks in May for me are pretty hectic, but it's all good. I'll take vacation from work. The GS is going to be an internal course this year. We've decided not to contract that one out this year, so it's going to be run internally. Ray's volunteered his farm. Ray, you're back there somewhere. Yeah, so Ray's farm, fantastic venue. Did that a few years ago. I think before COVID we did that. Ray, am I right on that date? Yeah. Great venue there, and they combine it with a ride. So Chris and Ray and a few others, Tony, are going to be involved in organizing that. There's also some off-bike training. So I want to get my star training candidate, Michael, to stand up and say a couple words about the off-bike training, because that off-bike training is a bit of cost to that, right, Michael? And so some of those funds are going to come out of the rider training program budget.
Do you want me to speak into your little furry machine there?
Yeah, you can do. I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, so very, very briefly, the idea of off-bike training is to whet our appetites before we actually get onto bikes. So we have 4 events planned through February, March, April. The first, and it's all on the calendar, details still to come. The first event and the biggest one to organize, I guess, is a workshop on the 10th of February on emerging motorcycle tech. So this is both what the manufacturers are putting into their machines these days, not just Motorrad, but others. What riders, new technologies available to riders, and third-party providers trying to bridge some of these gaps. So I think it'll be quite good. It's a course that's being put together by our friend Bruce Cole, who has lots of expertise in this stuff. After that, we have things we've done in the past, a spring tune-up, sort of spring maintenance session at Good Time Center, a chance to go back in the workshop and hang out with their techs and ask questions. I think it's a great event. We did it 3 or 4 years ago, and it was well attended. We're going to go back to Good Time in early April for a hands-on tech session. So hopefully we'll have a 1300 GS by then, and so the new screens both on the RT and the GS, and take a look at how the tech is playing out on those shiny new machines. And then finally, in conjunction with Jeff's ART inspection session late April, I believe.
That's right. Sunday in April.
At DIY, we're going to do a bit of tech days, as we used to call it in the club, using their facilities and their expertise to run through an oil change and change of tires. So that's the plan, and it'll all be coming with more details in the calendar.
Fantastic. Thanks, Michael. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for me to mention I don't do all this by myself. Obviously, there's just, even though I am a bit of a border collie, I've got a lot of help. So Michael is organizing the off-bike stuff. And also as part of the rider training program, and they got roped into this because they volunteered to help for ART. So last year we had Ray Hammerling, Earl Higgins, and JP LaChanze. I don't think JP's here. He was supposed to be here. Oh, there he is, right there in front of me. Yeah, hey JP. You were hiding there in plain sight, as my wife would say. Yeah, there you go. So we, I don't do it myself. There's a ton of work that goes into this stuff, and obviously one person can't handle it all. And of course, club volunteers on the day of ART. This would also be a good opportunity to mention, I don't know if you see that fantastic logo up there, the Advanced Rider Training logo there. That was designed and volunteer designed, and fantastic, I might add, by Maya. So thank you very much again. It's just really nice. So I had them made into stickers, and I've got a couple samples here, but and they were a big hit. I'm going to get more made for 2024 as well. In addition to all of that, I don't have much to announce on this yet, but online training. There's a couple things that are hopefully coming in the store. One of the courses I took as part of my, I don't know, research for ART, mostly because I just like taking courses, was Yamaha's Champ U. Has anybody heard of Champions U or Champ U? They have some online courses which are absolutely fantastic. And they have their core curriculum, which I got on a discount last year and took. It is really, really, really well done. The videos they've done and the material is excellent. Highly recommend it. I'm reaching out to them to see if they can offer us a discount for that training program. It's currently it's on sale now for $90 US, and you get it for the life of the program, meaning as long as they exist and it's online, you can take it over and over. And it's worth taking over and over. The material is just that good, in my opinion. I'm hoping to get another discount upon for club members. So more to follow on that when I have it. I'm also, if I have time before all of this, the riding starts again in earnest, I'm planning to put some of the curriculum for ART online as well that we can access through our website. So just a voiceover on the PowerPoints, because there's some excellent material in there. And I think it's worthwhile, just even if you're not going to take ART, it's good learning there. So that's, I like to say, why would we take any training? Because, I mean, I think I mentioned earlier about my experience. Has anybody had a similar experience? They took a course and said, oh my, I was missing out on a lot of things. Andre, like what, for example, would come to mind?
Well, I mean, you realize that it's a dangerous sport, and that it's a perishable skill too, right? So you got to keep that stuff in tune. And I found myself, I took art school. Well, I joined the club to take art school, and then you guys promptly canceled it 2 years straight.
Sorry.
So,
but now we hooked you on the board now,
yeah,
so.
And then when I finally got to take it, like I found when I started, the morning at art school, I felt this comfort level on my bike, and by the afternoon
Yeah.
it was here, right?
Yeah.
Because you realize you've taken those same corners all the time, you get used to it, and you realize what you can do with the bike. So
Yeah.
I found it a real eye opener, but I also realized that every spring I look at myself and I think, yeah, I think I need to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I make sure I take a course every year now, whether it be art school, the motorcycle master's GS course, something, but it's a perishable skill.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? I mean, for me, I've learned techniques that were new or I didn't know, whether it's high speed, slow speed, or GS. Fiona, you had a point?
Yeah, I just think going back to our European trip last year and some of the roads that we travelled, and I certainly thought this, but I heard it from a lot of other people that thank goodness we did art school, because it made it so much more pleasurable not to be in fear of some of those incredible switchbacks.
Yeah, I agree on that. I did that.
Motorcycle masters, because the
Yep.
two combined, right? There's so much slow speed work.
Yeah, when you have to give way to a coach on a switchback and you have to come to a grinding halt almost.
Well, there's an exact example of two techniques. There's high-speed cornering, and you could counter lean or you can lean, depending on the situation and the speed and what your sight lines demand. So there's so much to learn and you don't think there's no wrong way necessarily. Sometimes there's better ways, but sometimes there's two different ways to do the same thing. So you might have a new bike is another idea. So a bigger bike, smaller bike, and you want to try it out on some corners, slow speed handling. That's a great way. When I first got my GS, my 2019 GS, I took the motorcycle masters with it, and it's fantastic to get used to the bike. And as already mentioned, new techniques that you may not have heard of or want to try, or some errors that you've had. And if you haven't taken a course in 20 or 30 years or more, there's probably a few embedded errors or maybe bad techniques that you've got going. It's going to increase your confidence, obviously, which even if you take ART and you don't go faster on the street, and I'm not recommending you go faster than the posted limit, but you will go the same speed with higher safety margin, like at the very least. Just that many corners in one day. You're taking the same corner. You practice your lines. You practice your counter, your weighting. It's really good way to make yourself a safer rider, because a well-trained rider is a safer rider. I think we can all agree. And if that's not enough, it's fun, and you get a subsidy. So there you go. And a plug here for ART. So It's the course that we have in-house, which is, I guess, kind of the main sort of element of the rider training program in terms of the big ticket item for us. There's a lot of effort goes into it. Like we haven't met yet, the committee that has yet to be formed, but I've already put a deposit on the track, almost $2,000 deposit. Tracks are almost $11,000 this year. So that just give you an idea that it's a high risk, but a high reward sort of program for the club. The track, which you see here, which all of you, or most of you are familiar with, is where we do our work, of course. Curriculum refresh, I mentioned that a little bit earlier. I had the COVID pause to think about it and did my own research, like took a bunch of courses, like California Superbike School, of course, I mentioned that one. I've taken Fast School multiple times, Pro 6 Track School, Champ U I mentioned, and plus probably 30 track days. So yeah, it's a labor of love for sure for me, and much to Marcy's chagrin, I'm on the track a lot. Literature review as well. A lot of reading, and many of you are familiar with Lee Parks. He's written an excellent book on motorcycling and cornering, and I'm definitely a disciple of his, and he's a disciple of Keith Code, which is California Superbike School founder. And I met Keith when I took the course. Got a signed book, Twist of the Wrist, you've probably heard. Yeah, fantastic information in there. Lee has kind of updated some of Keith's concepts, and really, really good foundation for those who are looking for something to read this winter. Also, David Hugh, The Art of Proficient Motorcycling, I think is an excellent resource. If you haven't read that, it's fantastic. And also courses, I mentioned, I've taken those courses, and again, you learn something new every single time. I took FAST again last summer, and you learn something from each coach you have, This is just a picture of guys getting ready to go out on the track. Just threw some gratuitous pictures in here. This, by the way, is Kevin Kraft, a long time. He's been with the ART program since the beginning. And for those who aren't aware, he did the Iron Butt rally this year and finished in 35th range, if somebody knows the answer. But like to finish it, for sure. Go ahead, Fiona.
Just as a FYI, I think Kevin is going to be here to do our presentations for the February meeting. Gene Copus and Ross Copus
right.
are just coordinating with him to come in and tell us what it would take to win.
Yeah, it's a real challenge, but he's an avid motorcyclist, and he did an Iron Butt. He did ART last year. He asked me before ART in 2022, excuse me. He said, Jeff, can I stay at your house the night before, and then we'll ride out the morning for ART. And he wanted to position and not ride so much, that day, because he'll ride he lives in Bedford, I think, which is sort of east of Montreal. So it's a bit of a ride for him. But after ART, he left promptly because he was doing a 50 states Iron Butt challenge, and I don't know how many days he did. It's like you have so many days to do it. It's crazy. Yeah, he did it with a friend of his. He did it successfully, and then of course this past year he did the Iron Butt Rally, which pretty amazing. Yeah, and that's right. So that won't be held again for another year, but. This is the class of 2023, and I hope to see some more of your faces in there for 2024. Yep, that's 20. I think that's 2023. Now is the point where Fiona and I look very confused. It's comms. What can you do, right? You're trying to get your no. I'm the confused one. She's like, it's just press the button. Just press the button. Yeah. Any questions for me about the program? Or I know Fiona probably has a few because I missed a few things she wanted me to say and I didn't quite get to it. Yeah, go ahead.
So when will the registrations, you think, be open on our site? I've already been looking.
For which specifically?
Art and the Motorcycle Masters specifically.
Motorcycle Masters will be probably, that's in April, so probably early March. I'll probably open it up a little bit. ART will open earlier than that. It'd be February. Okay. We haven't nailed down the exact pricing yet in terms of that. Sure, you can give me money today.
I'll take it.
As long as it's off camera, I'll take the money. Yeah.
Leave the speaker on.
That's right. Any other questions for me about any aspect of the program or? No? Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time. Oh, yes, Connie.
If you were looking to volunteer as a
Yes.
ART, how would somebody let you know that?
Uh,
Are you looking for volunteers?
Always, yes. So typically we'll need somewhere in the vicinity of 6 to 10 volunteers for the day of, just for sort of registration duties, handing out stuff duties, and sort of just helping me and the coaches sort of run the day. So probably open that up about a month prior, registrations for that. You'll see on the website, and some sort of notice will go out, say, hey, if you want to volunteer. And you can just register your name right in there. For sure. And if you're interested, give it to me now. If you're for sure interested, and I know Paul had approached me as well, so I can throw those in there. But I'll probably forget, so email me or something, right? So, but we're always looking for help because the day of, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen, and 2 or 3 people just can't manage it all. So.
Sorry, track configuration will be the same as last year.
Yeah, the track configuration will be the east track as per normal. So the long track, which is about just over 5 kilometers. It's got 2 long straights on it, which really don't serve our purpose all that well. It is a lot of fun. That's a track day, that's the race track. But the east track, the stadium track, is just under 3 kilometers, I think. So it suits our purposes really well. So it'll be the same for sure.
Saying more turns in the shorter track.
Yeah, you're constantly turning for sure. There was another question over here. David?
Yeah, probably a stupid question.
No.
But
Well, we'll see. I'll reserve judgment.
have you ever heard of any road rider training to prepare riders for adverse conditions, whether it's rain, sand that we come into? I guess people would say, well, go take a GS course and learn about loose front and rear end.
That was my first thought. Actually, my first thought was just keep taking ART. Eventually, you will get a rain day. I don't know what year it was, Ray. You probably remember. It might have been 2017 or 18 or 16.
Probably we ran a course at our school, and it was like 3 degrees in the morning. It was raining all day.
Yeah. Now, that is to say that it very rarely rains at ART. No refunds after the first of the month. But it's a rain or shine event, for sure. And there's value to it. You really learn, because we're not running slicks out there. Obviously, we're running treaded tires. And you really learn that those tires have decent grip. If you handle a motorcycle carefully and properly, you can ride. You're not going to fall off if you're careful. But that's really the answer, David. I've not heard of any course, but GS training is probably your next best thing, because you learn how to drift that rear wheel. Go out on the level 1 course that we'll hopefully offer internally. Yeah, not sure if you have a GS. I don't recommend it, but if you can get a hold of a bike, it is really good training. Loose conditions riding is a totally different experience, but once you get used to it, it helps you in all aspects of riding, which is why training is so important, all disciplines.